Well, good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to Car Addict here. Just doing this video real quick to tell you, do not buy any available intake right now for your Civic with the 1.5 turbo. I'm not sure what it's going to be like with the SI, but I can only imagine if the one that comes with EXT is more than sufficient for a lot of extra power over stock, that the oh, there goes that mount. The intake in the SI, it's got to be more than enough. I mean, I just don't see how it will be less efficient or less capable of flowing than the one in their lower model. A little bit later I'll tell you why you should get one too, I guess, though, because I'm still happy with mine. But before I get into it, I'll just say, oh man, and I'll apologize for the way I sound. I'm just now finally coming down from a sickness that's had me down for over a week. It's pretty gruesome. Anyways, I am far from an expert on reading calibrations and setting up maps and things like that, so hopefully I'm correct with everything I say here. The way you can scale a mass airflow sensor, it's 1 to 5 volts. I believe it's not 0 to 5. I think it's 1 to 5. You can't change what voltage the sensor reads for a given flow. That's one thing you can't change. Whatever the air does going by it makes it read what it's going to read. You're not going to change it. What you can do is, inside of the tune, you can set different data points, and I'm pretty sure you're limited. However many cells there are on the table, that's how many you got. And if you never pull enough air, there's a right-hand drive Skyline. Well, of course it's a right-hand drive, but there's a Skyline. That's I don't see that very often. Anyways, all right, back to it. What was I saying? So, if you never pull enough air past your sensor to read past 3.5 volts, then you can have, let's say you got a table with 15 cells. You can have all 15 of them spread throughout that 0 to 3.5 and have data points closer to each other, so you can have more accurate control over all the different airflows. If you end up getting 4.5 volts is all you're pulling, you got to spread your points out further. So you could be pulling 40 grams a second of air and 50 grams a second of air, and you might only have one at 40, one at 50, or 30 at 40, whatever I just said. But if you can have your data points closer together, you'll know when you're getting 30, 40, and maybe you can put one in at 35. You can tell the ECU, I want to know this voltage, and that's this much air. You can tell the car, you're getting this much air at this voltage. So you can rescale it to tune however you want. But the thing is, you're not going to change, like I said, whatever the airflow going through it is, however it's affecting the sensor, it's going to put out the voltage it's going to put out. The only way to trick it is to put the sensor in a larger housing. So when the same volume of air goes through, the sensor will read a lower voltage. So then you can effectively pull more air and still measure. So the problem with the intakes right now is they're running basically a stock size MAF housing, because that's what the ECU wants to see. And the way I'm tuned right now, stock turbo, stock clutch. So I could pull more on the low end, but I'm basically pulling all I can on the top end. And even with my fueling a little better than just regular pump, we can't pull more. I think I'm getting like 4.8 volts in the sensor. So if I was as far as I wanted to go right now, I guess the intake would be fine. But I don't want to stop here. So whenever I finally do, if they come out with the upgraded turbo, I'm going to pull more air, definitely. And if I'm already hitting 4.8, I'll probably max out at 5. So now, let's say I only pull, and again, I don't know how many grams a second of air equals what kind of a possible power level, so I'm just throwing random ass numbers out here. If I'm already pulling 200 grams a second, which I'm sure is nowhere near the correct number, I've never even really tried to look it up to see if I'm close. So I could probably pull 210 and be at 5 volts. So from 210 to 200 anything, 300 anything, the ECU is never going to know the difference, because, or at least not based off the mass airflow. Maybe the map sensor will give it a clue, but as far as just mass airflow readings, it's not going to know any difference. So you need a bigger housing, pull more air, lower voltages, and trick it that way. PRL, supposedly, their intake's going to come out and it's going to be, I guess, 4 inches all the way from the filter up to the mass airflow housing. And they're going to offer a mass airflow housing, I guess, around 50% larger than stock, which seems like more than necessary to me. But again, they do what they do. I don't. So, but that's going to require tuning. Now, I think the engine intake, it's like 260 for a short ram. I think it's almost 300 for cold air. Mishimoto, I think, is 240 for a short ram. I'm just going to assume that the, what is it, the AEM's got to be close to 3, I bet. Does Takeda make anything? Or, excuse me, Takata? I don't know how you know that's how you say that damn name. Man, I can't wait to not be sick. If they do, their intake's usually one of the most expensive ones. So the one I'm running is the AF Dynamic. It's basically a ripoff of the engine, but it's only 169. Actually, got it for 159 shipped for the cold air. Short ram's the same price. So if you're getting your intake for power, don't buy it. I'll show you. See, look at my dyno sheet right here. I'll post in a second. That's a fresh flash without learning octane and then learning 92. You can go to vittune.com and see on his blog what he got stocked on 87. The intake just doesn't really make the power, and I know manufacturers' dyno sheets claim they do, but obviously they don't, and pretty much everybody knows that. Well, a lot of people know that. But if you're doing it for this, well, let's let this guy go by. If you're doing it for this, go ahead and do it. And even if you get the big brand name short ram or anything, you'll be able to sell it to recoup some of your cost if you end up going with a better setup later on. The other thing is with hearing the bypass valve. I don't know if some of the videos are CVTs, and that's why, because when they let off, the RPMs don't just rev hang. The RPMs don't just fall anyways. But on mine, the throttle position command almost just drops. I mean, it goes to like 15% or something for a second. Maybe the CVTs don't drop as much, so there's still a little bit of that, a little bit more vacuum on that line or something that doesn't open. However it is, because I'm using the GoPro. So even watching my own video on YouTube, I feel like mine's louder than other people's. Maybe it's a short ram thing versus the cold air, because the hood and everything's insulated so well that I'm hearing the echo like out of the filter in that area coming at me or something with the window down, because instead of like the filter being under the hood, it's right behind a thin piece of plastic. Both front windows down. This is why I got the intake. I was told it wouldn't make any power. I haven't believed him. So about the cheap one, because I wanted to hear this. I like it. Stupid ass mount. So now I got it windows up. The camera is closer to the source of the sound than the driver's head is by a couple feet, but this is just to show mine still is pretty loud even when you're not by a wall with the windows down. So, and then again, if that's all you want, they sell $60 plate, or yeah, I think they're 60 bucks. Some block off plates for the one, I think the one from the Honda Sonata and Kia Optima turbos will bolt right in. I think they're starting to market them for the Civic now. I don't know what they sound like. I do remember I've watched a video of a Kia Optima with one on it, but I do not remember what it sounded like. So I don't really know if that would be good enough to get you the sound you want. The other thing is, then you're venting to atmosphere, which from a technical standpoint shouldn't work, and it should affect the drivability, but there's a lot of people that have posted that it does nothing to their car. It doesn't affect it at all. They noticed no negative side effects. That's my thoughts on the intake deal. Obviously, knowing all that, I still got one. Anyways, my next video I'm going to try to do this weekend, I think. I'm going to take my exhaust off, and I'm going to try to record an acceleration away from the camera, in the car, and then also maybe I'll clamp it somewhere under the car or something. But I'm going to do the one muffler unbolted, the other one cut off, and then the whole damn system pulled. I'll see what I like the best, and if it sounds good without anything, I might just straight pipe it. We'll see. I'll try to get that up this weekend. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.